Hi, welcome to Venture Recaps. Today I will talk about the movie titled Shanghai Fortress. In the future, a Chinese spaceship comes back to Earth with a new energy source called xianteng. Within years, it replaces traditional energy sources and cities see unprecedented development. Unfortunately, this gets the attention of aliens, and they attack all the major cities across the globe. Eventually, the leaders of countries hold a meeting in Shanghai to create a unique defense system to save the last standing city in the world. Using a simulation that plays the aliens sending their flying robots for another attack, the Grey Eagle team, formed by Zhang, Zhengyu, Yi, and Pan, controls the latest models of military drones to engage in battle. Their teamwork is excellent because they were trained by Commander Lin Lan herself. Commander Yun is very happy with the results of the team. It turns out Zhang used to be part of the logistic team that built the Shanghai cannon, which has allowed Shanghai to be the last standing fortress. But as things got bad, he joined the battling team to help. After another day, Zhang rushes to the elevator so he can leave with Lin Lan, who he has a huge crush on. Zhang wants to give her a flower, but he's shy and unable to give it to her. Later, Zhang sends her a message about training and is delighted to see her answer that he did well. Sometime later, Yun informs Lin Lan that New Delhi has also fallen to an alien attack. Suddenly, Code Red is announced in the fortress. It turns out an alien mothership has appeared above Shanghai. People begin panicking all over the city, but soon the soldiers guide them to the corresponding shelters. Among their defenses, the city has a special force field that stops the laser beam the mothership attacks with. However, the force field can't stand up for long, and the aliens send an army of robots through it. The pilots immediately send their drones to fight them. One of the robots approaches the fortress and lands in the middle of the road. Then the robot begins shooting at everything in its path, so the artillery team opens fire to try to stop it, to no avail. Zhang tries to help as well without much luck, but at that moment a tank controlled by Lin Lan arrives and destroys it in seconds. The drones finish taking down the rest of the robots just in time for the engineers to finish fixing the force field, thus the mothership leaves the area for now. Later, the science division informs the committee that they found a weak point in the mothership during the fight. The committee wants to use the Shanghai cannon to hit it, but Yun doesn't let them because this could put people's lives at risk. Afterward, Yun takes Lin Lan to a secure facility to explain that Shanghai has the last deposit of xianteng, which is highly unstable and the only thing that keeps the fortress and the force field going. If they shoot the cannon, they will waste all the remaining xianteng and leave the city defenseless. The best way to keep the aliens at bay is to continue training their Eagle team so they can replace the force field one day. Meanwhile, Zhang and his friends are hanging out on a rooftop, sharing their dreams about what they'd do with their lives if they weren't at war. Pan wants to finish his bike and ride it freely. They're suddenly interrupted by an emergency call that announces the city is under attack again, so they rush back to the fortress. As usual, the force field comes up to stop the incoming beams. However, Pan notices something weird. While many holes in the shield have been achieved, the enemy robots still don't attack. This makes him realize this is a trap. The aliens are making them repair the field over and over, so they'll run out of xianteng and the city will be defenseless. The next time a beam goes through the field, it causes lots of damage inside the fortress, and the robots finally make their way in. The Eagles join the battle, but they can't do much and prefer to go inside to gain control of the drones. While the Eagles use the drones to begin fixing the force field, the committee goes against Yun's orders and activates the cannon. They don't use the full power to avoid losing all their xianteng, but it hits the mothership. The Eagles also successfully finish repairing the field, so the mothership leaves. Nearby, a robot reveals not to be as destroyed as they thought. Later in the evening, the Eagles spend some time with their hobbies, and Zhang finally invites Lin Lan on a bike ride. However, this turns out to be a dream, and when he wakes up, he discovers that the Eagles have been promoted. Yi decides they need to celebrate, and the team goes to a club, but Zhang can't stop thinking about Lin Lan. While he's brooding on the roof, Yi notices him and advises him not to be afraid to confess his feelings, because who knows if the aliens will let him do so in the future. Later in the evening, Zhang goes to a restaurant for dinner and is surprised to find Lin Lan there. They discuss the pressure of having to save the world and lament the lives lost in battle. Zhang is finally brave enough to give her the gift to cheer her up. After she leaves, Zhang sends her a message asking her to meet the next day, and she accepts. The next day, Zhang meets with Lin Lan and is disappointed to hear she only wanted to meet to check on the generators. While Zhang does the maintenance, Lin Lan tells him about her training days and how her father died in a battle. Lin Lan can't help crying at the memory and tells Zhang that she hopes they can build a future where kids can look up and see the stars instead of the beams. Sometime later, people panic when they notice that the ground is starting to split. He even tells the committee that the energy deposits aren't stable, and the use of the cannon has made it worse, meaning there's a risk of the force field will go down soon. Suddenly, an alert warns them that cracks have appeared on the force field too, so Yeon rushes back to the command center to guide the Eagles into repairing them. Thanks to their teamwork, the field goes back to normal, but is only temporary. At that moment, a robot breaks through the roof into the command center and begins killing people. The soldiers try to stop it, but bullets can't damage it. Pan tries hitting it with a fire extinguisher, and the robot doesn't hesitate to hit him in return before dragging him to the force field panel to disable it. With his dying breath, Han activates the self-destruct sequence, and the room explodes. With the robot destroyed, the force field goes back up immediately. In the evening, the team takes a moment to mourn Pan and the other casualties. When they return to their dorms, Jiang gives Yae Pan's bike key because he had always wanted her to have it. Sometime later, Yeon reveals that he has made a battle plan for their last chance. The idea is to shut down the force field and direct all that power to the cannon so that it would be strong enough to destroy the mothership. The Eagles will have to be the defense instead of the shield, and the team accepts the mission. Yeon also asks Lin Lan to stay in the Scienteng room and stand on guard. All civilians are sent away to shelters until the streets are empty. Before the fight, each soldier leaves an item inside a box that will last 100 years in case the city falls. Jiang chooses his phone, but first, he sends a message to Lin Lan confessing his feelings. Unfortunately, because of the power problems, it isn't sent. This time, the Eagles will have to fly actual planes instead of controlling the drones. As soon as the force field is shut down, the alien robots descend and start a fierce fight in the sky. The Eagles coordinate their skills in the air together, but unfortunately, it isn't enough, and a few robots fly past them to attack the command center. With encouraging last words for his team, Yeon dies when the room explodes. Next, the robots begin making their way to the Scienteng facility, so the Eagles and the tanks rush to try to stop them. As another battle begins, Lin Lan checks on the cannon and discovers it's fully charged. The robots manage to break the line of defense on the ground, and one of them jumps on Yi's plane. Jiang flies closer and hits the robot with his plane, destroying the enemy but also catching his wing on fire. Jiang has no choice but to evacuate and lands right in the middle of the battle. He immediately joins the fight with his guns, and when a robot is about to kill him, Yae saves him. Then she joins the fight on foot as well, determined to get revenge. Meanwhile, Zheng Yu flies toward the mothership to try to make it move toward the cannon. There are too many robots surrounding him though, so he needs backup. Yae rushes back to the command center and activates a special grenade that takes out many robots, sacrificing herself in the process. While Jiang rejoins Zheng Yu in the air by using Yi's plane, the mothership finally moves. The cannon is immediately shot, causing a huge explosion. When the air clears, everyone is shocked to discover the attack has failed because the robots took the shot to defend the mothership. With almost no hope left, Lin Lan remembers why Yi even left her there. The cannon was shot with the energy from the force field, but as a last resort, they can shoot one more time with the remaining Scienteng energy. This will leave the city powerless and cause the land to sink. Accepting the risks, the cannon begins recharging while Zheng Yu and Jiang continue to protect it. A robot manages to sneak inside the facility, but at that moment, Lin Lan pulls the lever and activates the cannon. All the buildings in the land begin sinking, bringing down the robot with them, and Lin Lan offers a heartfelt speech before dying that makes Jiang cry. To make matters worse, they discover that the cannon's guidance system was damaged. Jiang tells them to open the infrared guidance device and lock it in his position so he can guide the cannon, and Zheng Yu flies ahead to clean the way. The robots take the bait and go after him, and Zheng Yu self-destructs to bring them down with him. Now that the mothership has no protection, Jiang flies right into it to serve as a guide, and the cannon shoots its last charge, finally destroying the ship for good. As days pass, Shanghai is slowly rebuilt with the effort of traditional technology. It's then revealed that Jian has survived by ejecting the pod right before the cannon hit, and now he's been given the highest promotion. However, he still misses his team terribly and likes to revisit the places where they used to hang out. One evening, he visits the noodle restaurant, and a co-worker brings him the box where he left his phone. When Jiang checks it, he's discovered that his confession had been sent, and Lin Lan only replied received. With tears in his eyes, a flashback reveals that when Jiang chose to join the army, he had Lin Lan's guidance on how to fill in a form. He fell in love with her that day, and that's why he chose the fortress as his destination. Thank you for watching. Feel free to share and like the video. Hit the bell icon for more.